Hi there, welcome back to Stillwater's ASMR. Today's video we will be discussing baby essentials on a budget. Now you can spend an absolute fortune on your baby if you wish and if you're able. But in today's video I wanted to talk about if funds are limited. What are the actual necessities that you actually need? So I have got a list that I generated back when I was pregnant. I used an online list and I kind of revised and I basically use this as my shopping list. And I'm going to go through all the different items on this list. These are all the things that I have purchased or have had purchased for me, and I just want to go through and talk about how to save money when you have a baby, what are the really essential items, and how you can kind of make savings and things, because babies are expensive, and for a lot of people we just don't have the funds available to have one of those big shopping hauls that you see on YouTube. So you often see videos on YouTube of like these major big shopping hauls or these big baby shower hauls or like nursery tours, and there's lots of money been spent and not everyone has that kind of funds available. I do want to say one point, and that is there are a lot of lists online of like things to buy for your baby. I would encourage you to have a look at a few, because there may be items that you would want in your life that I have not included on my list. What my recommendation is to look at all the lists available, not all of them but a couple, and really spend time thinking realistically, what does your life look like? What are your needs? Because something that is absolutely essential for one mother will be something that another mother wouldn't even use. And so the best way to avoid wasting money is to really be honest with yourself about what life do you live? What does that look like? And what is it likely to look like when you have your child? Now, I will admit that for first-time mothers, if you've never had a child before, it can be quite hard to know what your life will look like once you have a child. Things might not pan out the way you think they will. So for that suggestion, my suggestion is, with certain items, hang fire spending money on them until actually you need them, because there's a lot of things that I'll discuss, like the absolute essentials, things you need to have before your baby arrives, but there's lots of things where you can make do with other solutions until you can actually go out and buy something. So a lot of the time you're actually better not buying things if you're not sure if you're going to need them. Wait and see if you need them first. So I'm going to kind of jump into this now. So I have my list, and I kind of segregated it into different categories. So I'm just trying to think of the best way in which to do this. I think I'm going to start by discussing car seats. There is only a couple of things that I would recommend buying absolutely brand new, if possible. That is your mattresses for any cribs and your car seat. So obviously, if you don't have a car, and you won't ever be taking your child in a car. You don't need a car seat. But most of us at some point will have to transport our child in a car, whether that's in a taxi, in someone else's car, or in your own car. And car seats are essential from a safety perspective. It's not just somewhere to set the baby, it is a safety issue. So this is why I would highly recommend, if possible, to buy your car seat new and to do your research to make sure the car seat that you have purchased passes decent safety standards. Please do not skimp on your car seat and buy something cheap. There's plenty of other places where you can make savings, but with your car seat, please, as much as possible, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money, but you don't have to spend like thousands. Buy a car seat that has decent safety rating, because this could literally save your child's life. And it's really important to do the research on how to properly strap your child into your car seat. Things like, don't have your child wearing bulky jackets, because then the straps can't get tight enough. The baby can come out of the car seat in a crash. They're really important. You can buy second-hand car seats if you can't afford to buy a new one. You can buy second-hand, but my advice is, again, make sure it's a good car seat that's got good safety standards. Make sure it's from someone you trust and that you know it has never been in a crash. Because even if a car seat has been in a crash and there isn't any visible signs of damage, there could be internal damage caused to the structure of the car seat, which could compromise the integrity. So what I would suggest is if you're buying a car seat secondhand, make sure it's from somebody that you trust, and make sure that you know that it has not been in any kind of accident of any kind, and that it is in good condition. That's, make sure the straps are in good condition, make sure that everything is in really good condition. So with the car seat, something to bear in mind. Think about, so the car seat is something, you need to have something in place before the baby arrives, because you need to have a method of getting the baby home from the hospital. So whether that's in your own car, or someone giving you a lift, or you're going to be taking a taxi, or something like that, you need a method of getting your baby safely home from the hospital. What we chose to do, so you get different types of car seats. You get the car seats that has the baby carrier that you clip into like a base that lives in the car. You also get ones where it's like a baby carrier that you strap in using the seatbelt. And then you get car seats where there isn't like a bit that you can remove from the car. You fit the whole thing into the car, and they often grow with the child. So think about, are you going to be transporting your baby in your own car all the time? Will you be getting lifts from other people and need to be able to take a carrier easily in and out of a car and put it in another car? Do you intend to have to go places a lot with a small baby and be having to take the baby in and out the car? The reason I'm talking about this is, so if you buy these baby carrier ones where you can take the carrier out of the car and you can it's got the handle and you can carry your baby around in it, they don't last for very long before your baby outgrows them. By the time you get to sort of around about, I'm trying to think when my step-granddaughter grew out of her car seat. I think it was before she was a year old. she had grown out of her baby car seat and they had to go buy a whole new car seat. And they get, each car seat is expensive. What we chose to do, because we were, were able to have the car seat in just the one car and just always just use that car. If we're taking the baby anywhere, we can just use the one car. We got a Joey Every Stage FX car seat. It's one that has really good safety record, and I can't say this. You fix it into your car, and you don't, there's no removable seat that you can take out. So it does mean that if the baby falls asleep in the car, I have to take her out of her seat to take her out of the car. But because I was buying a car seat during lockdown, I knew that we wouldn't be going anywhere that often. So waking the baby up on the odd occasion that we arrive somewhere and she's fallen asleep in the car, it's not the end of the world. I have not once yet been like, I wish I could take the car seat out of the car. And we're not going places where I want to be able to have a car seat for her to sit in. If we're going somewhere, I'm able to hold her, or we take her bouncer or something, or there's people who can hold her, so we don't have to have somewhere to set her. But if you're going to be going places where you need somewhere to sit your baby, then the car seat that you can remove is useful. But as said, be aware the baby will outgrow it quite quickly, and then you have to buy a new car seat for when they become a toddler and as they get bigger. We bought one. It was £200, had a really good safety rating, and it will last her from birth right through to 12 years old, or whenever she's tall enough that she doesn't need any booster seat or anything. So for us, this is brilliant. I had to spend £200 once. I don't have to buy any more car seats. It will grow with her. And for us, that works for us. But that's where, as I said, think about where you're going, what vehicles you'll be using. Do you need the baby to sit in something when you get there? Think about your own situation, and if it's appropriate for you to buy multiple car seats as your baby grows, that's fine. For us, this is what we chose, and so far it's been working really well. I have no regrets. I have not once thought, gosh, I wish I had a car seat I could remove. Now this ties into the whole pushchair thing. So when you're considering your car seat, it's probably also worth considering what kind of pram or pushchair or stroller or whatever you want to call them, buggy or whatever, you want to use, because sometimes your car seat and your pushchair are all one unit. So you can take the car seat out of the car, fix it to your pushchair, and then you can, say if you're going into town, you can then take your baby for a walk. Again, think about your life. Think about what your life looks like. If you live in a city where you don't have a car, and whenever you're going to go somewhere, it's on that nice flat, then a pushchair might be brilliant for you, because it's easy to use a pushchair on pavements. But you wouldn't need an all-terrain pushchair. If you live out in the countryside and you regularly go for walks in the woods, along paths in the woods, you'll want a all-terrain pushchair or a baby carrier. We'll get into that. So think about, what does your life look like? What do you need? So for us, I live in the countryside. We have a farm. So my cousin has a farm too, but their farm, her house and all of the farm buildings are on a tarmac road, and so she could put her children into their pushchair, wheel them along to whatever shed they were going to be working in with the animals. So the buyer, if they were milking the cows, or the sheep lambing shed at lambing time. She could wheel the pram along to the relevant building, park it up, the child is contained, she could get on and do her work. The farm I live on is on a hill. It's got fences and mud, and the areas where we work with the animals aren't accessible by footpath. It involves climbing over fences and walking across muddy fields. There's absolutely no way I'd be able to get my pushchair down to where we work with the sheep. So I have invested instead in a baby carrier, because actually I can strap the baby to my front, my hands are then free, and I can then, hike all over our croft to check on the sheep and things like that, carrying the baby, and that for me works better. There was no point in buying a pushchair. So as it turns out, there was actually a pushchair in our loft from back when my husband's first children, so my daughter's big sister is 20 years older than her. We have that pushchair that was been up in the loft for a good 15 years. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, the mice had been at it a little bit, but we disinfected everything and gave it a clean and repaired any bits that needed to be repaired. And if I need a pushchair, I have got one. But I have used it. I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've actually used it, because I found just since I got the baby carrier, I just tend to just carry the baby. Just strap her to myself, because then I can go more places. In the same note, when I do go into town, the town that we live on, like the one town in Shetland, Larwick, you've got a high street that has got steep lanes up to the main car park. There is a car park on the same level as the high street, but there's limited parking there, and so if you can't get a space there, you have to go up and park in a car park that's up on top of a steep hill, and it's really steep lanes down to the shopping street. Most of them have got stairs. There's no way I could get a pram up and down there. So again, if I'm going into town to go shopping or something, I carry my baby rather than put her in a pushchair. And again, I've had a baby during coronavirus pandemic, so I've not been going out and about very much with the baby. So there really was no point in going out and buying some expensive travel system for my child. So again, this is where, when it comes to the whole car seat and pushchair options, I really recommend to sit and think realistically about your life. What does your life look like? And write down the list of requirements that you have personally, and then shop accordingly. As I said, so I use a 20-year-old second-hand pushchair that was free because it was sitting in my loft. I've got a friend who has a child who has spent a small fortune on a super snazzy all-terrain pushchair, but she goes for walks every single day, and so it's essential for her. So I think I've reinforced that fact enough think about what your life looks like. So while we're talking about travel, I'm going to run through the rest of the stuff on this list. So I said some kind of car seat. You need to get your baby home from the hospital in some manner. So we also then have a baby carrier. I've got a baby carrier that I can strap the baby to myself, and we also have, the pushchair that's been in the loft for forever does have a car seat associated with it. So if we do need to put the baby in a different car, we can do that easily. So with the baby carriers, again, there are so many different types of baby carriers out there. You get these big long fabric slings that you'd tie around yourself in some crazy origami and put the baby in. You get pre-structured things you just clip on. You get variations of the two. There's so many different baby carriers. So people have been carrying babies from day dot. This isn't some new hippie thing. If you look at all the cultures around the world, baby carrying and baby wearing is like normal. It's something that we seem to have gotten disconnected with here in the West, I think, with pushchairs and stuff. But baby carrying in the house and when you're out and about is so handy for getting stuff done. Baby's close to you, baby's happy, baby will often fall asleep. Your hands free, you can get on and get stuff done. But again, there are so many variations out there. So again, think about what do you need, what works for you. To save money, to stop, to avoid buying something that you don't actually use or doesn't work for you. Find out if there is a sling library local to you, because a lot of places have got what they call sling libraries where you can borrow baby carriers for like a nominal fee. You can try them out and then you can see what works for you. Does it give you a bad back? Does it fit comfortably? Do you feel secure with it? When you find something that works for you, you can then go and buy that item either second hand from Facebook or eBay or something, or you can buy it brand new if you want. But then when you're buying it, apologies to be honest, when you're buying it, you know that it is something that works for you. So I did this. I borrowed 3 different. I messaged a lady that runs a sling library local to us here. I said, this is kind of what I'm looking for. What would you recommend? She recommended 3 different slings. I borrowed all 3. I tried them out. One of them stood out clearly above the rest. It was comfortable. It was easy to use. I went and bought that one. But that's where really trying them out is the best thing to do, really. I did get a free wrap in the baby box. It's a long bit of fabric. It worked really well when baby was really little and we were just wearing it around the house, but when I was wanting to go out and do things outside, I found it, like for example, if I was going to the shops and I've driven there and we're in a car park and I'm trying to attach the baby to myself to go into the shop, I was finding the long fabric sling a faff to try and tie it to myself in the back seat of the car. So I got one that's simple. It's got some clips that it's got 3 clips and you're done and you put the baby in, and it's really simple to put on on the back seat of the car. So yeah, again, think about what you need. If you do have a car and you've got a baby seat, they recommend that babies are rear facing for as long as possible because it's the safest. Get a car mirror to put on the headrest of the seat where the baby is, because then when you're sitting in the front seat, you look in your rear view mirror and then the mirror is here and then you can see your baby. It kind of reflects back the ways, kind of thing, if that makes sense. So get a baby car mirror thing to put on the back seat of the car so you can see your baby in the car. They're great. I actually got one free because my stepdaughter, they had like an extra one they didn't need, so they gave us one for free. Now, because I have a second-hand pushchair, the rain cover didn't survive the 15 years in the loft. It like split and cracked and it got thrown away. So I had to go out and buy a separate rain cover for the pushchair. Admittedly, I've not been out in the rain yet. I don't think it even fits a pushchair anyway because I got a universal one. It doesn't really fit very well. But they do come in useful. She says, who has never used it in 4 months. Carrier sling, we've been over that. It's useful to have a couple blankets for putting over the baby in the car. So when you put baby in a car seat, you're not supposed to have them wearing bulky clothing. So if it's cold, you're better having them in less clothing, put them in the car seat and then put a blanket over the top of them instead, like over the top of the straps. So they're strapped in securely and then you can put a blanket on. I didn't actually buy any blankets for my baby. I got given so many blankets from people that we've got tons of blankets. So that is something that you may not need to buy. Coming back to that topic, if you So I am very aware that I was very fortunate and very blessed. We got given lots of gifts from friends, from people from the church, from work colleagues, from family. Not everyone has got such a good support network. But what I'm going to do, when I go through this, I'll kind of mention the things that you want to get before baby arrives, that you want to make sure that you have. There's certain items that I'll kind of be like, don't buy these if there's people who are likely to buy you gifts. Sorry, I'm just rearranging because my leg's going in. If there's people who are likely to buy you gifts, there's certain things I'll basically like, don't bother buying these because you might get plenty of them from other people. So blankets is something that's a common gift item. And as I said, people love to knit blankets for babies and things like that. So I've gotten given like half a dozen blankets, if not more. I can think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, easy half a dozen blankets we've been given. So I was worried before baby arrived because I hadn't bought any blankets. Don't need to worry about it. But again, so things like if money's tight, but there's people in your life who can help contribute towards things, it's useful to kind of like pick items that you're like, oh, if you could get this for me, that would be really useful. That's what we did with the baby monitor. My in-laws got us a baby monitor. We were able to go, this is an item we need, and they then provide us with one. So, but I said, I'm very aware that not everyone has got that blessing. Not everybody has got support network, or people, you might have an amazing support network, but they might not be financially able to give you much. But hand-me-downs and things like that are wonderful. So, okay. The core essentials for a baby, you need a way of getting them home from the hospital. So we've discussed the whole car seat, prams and stuff. They need somewhere to sleep. They need somewhere to eat. They need to be able to be fed. And you need to deal with their bums, their nappies. And you kind of want to be able to wash them in some capacity. That's like their core needs. Above and beyond that, like, they don't need that much stuff. As I said, there are so many products out there that you can buy for babies. A lot of them you don't actually need. So I'm just going to go through this in order. So toilet related. Your baby's going to poop, your baby's going to pee. You need to deal with that. How you deal with that is up to you. You can use either disposable nappies, you can use reusable nappies. You can also do what they call the elimination communication, EC. Your baby will still need to wear nappies even if you're doing that approach. I do a combo of all three. So we use disposables at night, reusables during the day, and then we also have a little potty. Oh, I can't show it to you because it's through in the bathroom, it's been rinsed out. We have this, they call it a top hat potty. It's basically like a kind of top hat shape with a lip at the top, and you can wedge it between your knees and plonk your baby on it, and it just saves on dirty nappies. So that is something that I chose to buy. You don't have to buy that. If you're doing disposables, you will need disposable nappies. You will need baby wipes or some kind of method of cleaning the baby. Actually, cotton pads or cotton wool with water is actually better for your baby's bum than baby wipes. Baby wipes are full of chemicals that will cause nappy rash. I know because my baby, when I use, I've got them right here, I use cheeky wipes. It's like a tub and it's full of, I can't open that without making a little noise, but basically it's squares of cotton flannel soaking in water, and I just use that to wipe my baby's bum with. You then obviously have to wash them because they're reusable, but you can get disposable if you don't want to have to deal with reusable and like the washing involved. You can buy like cotton pads that you just wet and use those, and then you just throw them away with your disposable nappies. It's nicer for baby's bum. But you basically need a method to wipe baby's bum, nappies to put on baby, nappy cream. The nappy bags, it depends on how you want to dispose of them. If I'm out and about, I have nappy bags with me. If I'm at home, I just put them straight in the bin. We have our bin is located out in the utility rooms. It's not stinking up the house. If you're using reusable nappies, you'll need reusable nappies. You will need reusable wipes. You'll need a bucket to put your nappies in. You will need you'll still need your nappy cream, boosters and liners and all sorts of things. If you're interested, I can do a video talking about reusable nappies. That would be a different video though. And a changing mat, somewhere to change the baby, somewhere a firm flat surface where the baby can't fall off of. So that's pretty straightforward. I would recommend having plenty of, even if you're using reusable nappies, I would still recommend having some disposables and some baby wipes just for convenience sake. Although the cotton wool and water is better for baby's bum, when we're out and about, I use just the disposable wipes because they are just so much more convenient. That's enough about poop. You have to deal with that when you're a parent. Nursery. Your baby will need somewhere to sleep. So again, this is where you can spend a fortune on fancy nursery furniture, or you can spend absolutely nothing. It depends on how you want to do it. When I say you can spend absolutely nothing, you don't have to have a separate bed for your baby. Your baby can sleep in with you, provided you follow the advice on safe co-sleeping with your child. And I would say make sure that you are clued up on how to co-sleep safely. Unsafe co-sleeping increases the risk of sudden infant death, or SIDS as they call it. But safe co-sleeping, there's indications that it reduces the chances of SIDS in relation to having them in a separate bed. But it's things like making sure that nobody who shares the bed smokes or drinks or is on any kind of medication which affects your brain function. So things like strong painkillers or anything like that, or sleeping tablets or anything like that wouldn't be recommended. But making sure that the covers aren't, the baby is not being smothered by covers or pillows or anything like that. Either having a mattress on the floor so the baby can't fall out of bed, or having some kind of sensible guard up. If you're choosing not to have your baby in your bed, you will have to get somewhere for baby to sleep. In Scotland, you get a free baby box, which is a cardboard box with a mattress in the bottom of it. That does them up for 6 months. This is where, to save money, I highly recommend getting furniture second-hand. Cribs and all that kind of stuff, you can get them second-hand. I would recommend though buying a new mattress. New mattresses do not cost that much money, because baby mattresses are fairly firm and they're fairly thin, because you don't want a big squishy mattress because it's a suffocation risk. So what we did is I managed to get a Chico next to me cot that attaches to the bed. Those normally cost £200 new. I got one for 30 quid, second hand off Facebook. I then got a mattress for another 30 quid. I bought some fitted sheets and a mattress protector, and I got 2 fitted sheets because one can be in the wash while one's on the bed, a mattress protector, and that's us. We're fortunate, we have got cribs up in the loft for when she can go in that until she's about 6 months old. We have got cribs up in the loft for when she outgrows the next to me cot. We just need to get mattresses and sheets for them. I had a thought there, but it's gone. Oh yeah, things like bassinets, the babies outgrow them so quickly. They may be cheap, they may be cute, but they outgrow them very quickly. If money is tight, it might be better to get one of these beds that it's like the multi-stage cot, goes from it sees them right through from baby through to toddler, because you'll get more use out of it. But again, second hand, you can get that kind of stuff second hand. A dresser. You don't actually need a dresser. You need somewhere to store your baby's clothes. It doesn't have to be a dresser. It can be anything. It can be a plastic bin. It can be, it can be anything. You could even just set them on the floor if you wanted to, but it would look kind of messy. But somewhere to put baby's clothing. It doesn't have to be fancy. I sacrificed a drawer in my dresser, so the baby doesn't actually have her own furniture. You don't have to buy those really fancy nursery furniture sets. You don't even need to buy a changing table. I mean, you notice changing table wasn't actually on this, because I changed the baby on our coffee table in the middle of the living room or on the floor. Like, you don't need a changing table if you can't afford one. If you can afford one, knock yourself out, have fun, enjoy shopping for your baby. But if you can't afford it, don't feel you have to buy all that stuff that you see on Instagram. So yeah, you want a couple fitted sheets so you can have one on the wash and one on the bed. Some blankets. Again, I have not bought any blankets from it. I bought the fitted sheets for the mattress protector, but all I've had blankets, I've had people have made quilts. You don't need to buy that kind of stuff. I've got a toy box. Totally unnecessary to buy something. You can do it at anything. At the moment, she's got a plastic bin in a cupboard in the living room, is where her toys are stored. But she does have the baby box that came free from the Scottish Government that we might use as a toy box. I had a really cute basket. I was hoping to be able to salvage it and use it for my daughter, but it got mouldy in my parents' loft, and I'm not going to risk it, so it's gone to the dump. I was very upset about that because I loved that basket. My mum had covered it in a matching fabric that matched the quilt that she'd made for me as a child, and I had that was my toy basket for my whole childhood, but it's had to go to the dump because it got mouldy in my parents' loft. A baby monitor isn't essential, but they are very, very useful. I wouldn't do without a baby monitor, personally. We have got one with video. Video isn't essential, but it is handy. The biggest thing you want to know is if your baby's crying and needs you, if you're in the other room getting on with something. So the audio is the most important. If you can get one with video, it's great. It is handy. You can see if your baby's wide awake or not. Oh, I said we got our in-laws to get us one of those. We didn't actually get that till after baby had arrived, I don't think. So it's not essential to have that right away, because when baby's really little, you're with them all the time. Or at least I was. So the reason why there's mattresses on here twice is because there's the next to me, and then we also have the cot for in the bed. We have a bigger cot for the baby, which I haven't got the mattress or the bedding for that yet, because I don't need that for 6 months, because she'll be in the next to me cot for 6 months. So we'll get the cot set up and get mattresses and stuff for it at a later date. So we've got somewhere for baby to sleep. You've got bedding. So one thing, so you can either use blankets, but then be careful to tuck them in really tight so baby can't pull up over its face, and put baby at the bottom of the crib so they can't scooch down underneath the covers. Or I highly recommend baby sleeping bags. They are wonderful. They've got zippers around the side usually, and then poppers over the shoulders normally, and so you can basically it's if you've got your baby here, you've got a sleeping bag with just straps that go over the shoulders, so the baby can't get down into the sleeping bag and suffocate, and their arms are out, they can wave about. The baby's kept warm, but you get different thicknesses, so you can gauge how warm the room is and how warm you make the baby. You don't want baby to overheat. They're brilliant though. I use sleeping bags, so I don't actually use any blankets or quilts for the baby just yet. When she gets a bit bigger, she'll start using blankets and quilts that people have made for her. you can swaddle your baby. There's so many different ways of dressing a baby for sleep. Do what works for you. I used the sleeping bags, and that's what's worked for us. Bathing and health. So we had a baby bathtub in the loft. Free. Great. Reuse it. To be honest, you don't actually need... You get fancy seats to put your baby in the normal bathtub. You can wash your baby in the sink. Like, the biggest thing is always make sure you've got a firm hold of the baby. Don't have them in really deep water. But you can wash your baby in the sink. You don't need a special baby bath. While I remember, one top tip for saving money: look out for baby events at your supermarket, your grocery store, your pharmacy, chemist, whatever. Look out for baby events. Actually, the same applies for things like the car seats and the pushchairs and look out for any sales. Look out for any events that are happening where you can save money. I got a lot of baby toiletries as part of a set, like a bundle. So it was really reasonably priced. So, baby shampoo is useful if your baby gets cradle cap. They do actually recommend not to wash your baby too much. So you really don't need to be giving your baby a bath every single night. It dries their skin out. But baby shampoo is useful for if they get cradle cap, which is really common. My baby got a little bit. Some kind of body wash or bubble bath type stuff. I got, a friend gave me some that it's really good. It's Aveeno, and it's kind of moisturising. You want some kind of soft washcloths to use for the baby. Baby lotion. Nail clippers are important. You want something decent to trim the baby's nails and to file them. That is important because our little nails grow fast and they scratch them. They're vicious little things. A cradle cap brush. So I actually got this in as part of a set. It had a cradle cap brush and nail clippers and a whole bunch of things. Nail file. A sponge is on my list. To be honest, I have a sponge that came free in the baby bath. I never use it. I just use washcloths to wash her with. An ear thermometer. It's important to have a baby thermometer to check if they've got a temperature. The one that came free in the baby box is alleged to not be accurate, so I haven't used it. I went out and bought one that I knew to be accurate, because you don't want to be doubting the results. If your baby's not well, it's stressful enough. You want to know you can trust the result on your thermometer. I don't actually have an ear thermometer. The one I have goes under their armpit. Or it can go under the tongue as well, I think. But she's a bit spoiled to be trying to put something under the tongue. So it can go under the armpit, and that works really well. So you want a thermometer. So the bath and room thermometer is not necessary, but they're really handy. I got one free in the baby box. It's great for when I'm running a bath. I can just chuck it in and make sure that the water's a sensible temperature. I don't really tend to bother checking the temperature in the room temperature, because I kind of just go by how warm do I feel, and kind of just make sure baby doesn't feel too hot. We keep the house at pretty standard temperature, so the clothing that baby wears is pretty standard all the time. I don't have to change it too much. And then so this is one where a couple who did baby towels. They're great, but you don't need special baby towels. Like, you don't need them. If you... I got a set. I got one free in the baby box, and I got a pack of 3 from the supermarket. It wasn't too expensive. But, washcloths and towels, you probably have them for yourself already. You don't actually have to buy them specifically for the baby. I would recommend buying some baby toiletries. So I also use like talcum powder, and I use baby oil on her head for cradle cap. But you don't have to buy special baby sponges and special this, that and the next. You don't really need them. In the same way you can get these cups for like pouring water over their head from when you're washing them. I got one. To be honest, I use it for myself. I don't actually use it for the baby yet. Yeah, there's so many things you can spend money on that you really don't need to. Feeding. So, my top tip, if you're on a budget, breastfeed. Quite simply. If you are able, it's free. It's there. You're producing it. Use it. I fully appreciate that there's some women who either do not want to or cannot breastfeed. That is fine. In which case, formula, you will need formula, obviously. You'll need some bottles. You'll need a sterilizer. And a bottle brush. I'm not quite sure what else you're going to need because I don't formula feed. So I don't know if there's something fancy that you need for formula feeding. Bibs. You want quite a lot of bibs because they get dirty and you need to wash them. So 4 to 8 bibs. 4 to 8 muslin cloths. Muslin, I can't say that word. It's one of the two. I can never remember which. 4 to 8 like burp cloths, dribble cloths, whatever you want to call them. Babies are messy. You want a few because some of them wash. These are actually common gift items. Bibs and cloths. So I bought a packet of both and then I got given more of both. And I ended up with more than I needed. Also, the newborn bibs, I've had to buy some more bigger bibs because they do grow out of the newborn bibs. But I've got cloths coming out my ears because I bought a packet and then I got given like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 packets of them that has like multiple cloths in each. So I have got tons of those. I don't need as many. If you're breastfeeding, you can either choose to exclusively breastfeed, so in which case you need like some nipple cream maybe. I would suggest nursing pads. Like, basically you leak, so you want to have nursing bra that fit, that like easy access. They don't have to be expensive. And nursing pads. So I bought reusable nursing pads, and to be honest, I never use the disposables at all. I use the reusable ones. They're really comfy. Soak up any leakages, stops you making your clothes wet. Nipple cream is important if you're breastfeeding because your nipples do get a battering. You can get nipple shields. I got some because I was struggling to get baby to latch. In the end, I just bottle feed her instead. So that was kind of, didn't really get used much. We never really figured them out. You don't need to buy a breast pump, but many women find it useful. To be honest, so anything relating to this whole subject of breastfeeding, bottle feeding, expressing is very much individual preference and what you find easy, and it varies from person to person. Every woman will have a different supply. What will work for one will be completely different to what works for another. Personally, I find I can hand express quicker and more effectively than using a pump. If you start hand expressing when you're like towards the end of your pregnancy, you can hand express colostrum, store it up in your freezer, and have colostrum on hand for when your baby arrives, just in case. And then if you just carry on, I find that now I can hand express quicker than using a breast pump. Yeah, it can be a bit sore sometimes, it can be a bit uncomfortable, and your hands get cramp and things like that, but you don't actually have to buy a breast pump. But a lot of women find them useful. This is where, again, if you can borrow before you buy. My hospital had an electric pump that I could borrow, because I bought a manual pump which I just found utterly useless. It just didn't work for me. It just hurt my boobs and didn't get any milk out. I borrowed an electric pump from the hospital and I got on great with it to the point where I went and bought my own one, which my husband now complains because I just use my hands. But if you want to do hand expressing, I highly recommend getting some milk storage bags or pots. I've got 10 bottles I can store milk in, and then I've got a ton of, I've got 50 bags of milk in the freezer, between 150 to 180 ml per bag. So I've got like days worth of milk in the freezer. It can be stored in the fridge for up to 5 or 6 days and in the freezer for up to 6 months. It means I have that. So the reason why I pump and store milk is because I have a health condition that could mean I have to be away from my child. There's a good chance I might have to go down to Aberdeen for a day for an MRI scan, in which case I'll leave the baby at home with my husband and some milk, and I will go down on my own and I'll have to express and just dump the milk when I'm down there, because like getting it back would just be a nightmare. But yeah, so that is the kind of what you need with that. Several bottles. I have got 2 really small bottles, 4 kind of medium, and then 2 big bottles, and that seems to be doing me okay at the moment. And I got my bottle steriliser second hand. The bottles I've bought new. Oh, one top tip: when it comes to things like bottles, do not buy, and the same with reusable nappies, do not buy a massive expensive set of one type, because you might spend a lot of money and then discover that that particular type doesn't work for you. So with the reusable, I'm bumping the camera, with the reusable nappies, different babies have got different shapes, and so different nappies will fit different babies better, and you'll find that certain brands leak and other ones don't. If you have gone out and bought an absolute heap of one type of nappy and then find it doesn't work for your baby, you'll be upset because you'll have wasted a lot of money. Resale amount is never the same as the buying it new. In the same way with the bottles, so I had bought some Tommy Tippy bottles, but in the end the Mam bottles worked out better. But thankfully I hadn't bought a lot of Tommy Tippy bottles. I had gotten a couple Mam bottles free from Boots as part of a baby event. I bought a couple Tommy Tippy bottles. In the end, she got on better with the Mam bottles, and that's what we now use. And so yeah, kind of, you're better off getting a couple of different types than buying tons of one. And that's yeah, you obviously need a bottle brush. So things like a high chair, your baby will not be able to sit in a high chair until they're about 6 months old. You do not need to buy this before your baby arrives. You can wait. That's also a classic item that you can get second hand. You do not need to spend hundreds of pounds on a high chair. Some people get baby feeding pillows, and I don't actually use one because I don't do a huge amount of breastfeeding. We do like a little bit of breastfeeding, but not very much. But people who do like exclusive breastfeeding things swear by their baby feeding pillows. But again, that's where you can wait and see if you need it before you buy it and things like that, because you might just find just a normal pillow might work for you. With the feeding, if you're not sure if you're going to breastfeed or if you're going to formula feed before you have your baby, I would recommend getting a couple bottles in just in case. Have some, breast pads, some nipple cream handy. You'll need bibs and muzzle cloths regardless of how your baby's being fed. I'd have a few items in, some method of sterilising bottles. I'd have some those on hand just in case. So I was intending to buy some formula to have on hand just in case we needed it. In the end, we never bought any. We have never needed any, and we will not, hopefully, buy any. It's up to you if you want to have a stash on hand just in case you need it, or if you choose to wing it, and if you need it you can go out and buy it on short notice. that's about your own peace of mind and how it's working out for you. So I said, with this, you could spend a lot of money buying lots of stuff. You do not have to buy anything relating to weaning when your baby is born. You don't need to buy spoons and bowls and sippy cups. Wait until they're 6 months old and actually need to eat. And again, baby events. I waited for a baby event and I got a bunch of stuff on special offer, like on reduced. Miscellaneous, some other things that you will probably find useful. Dummies, pacifiers, binkies, whatever you want to call them. I didn't buy any of those. I was given some. Actually, I bought some now that she's grown a bit bigger and needed some new ones. I highly recommend glow-in-the-dark dummies. They are wonderful. Some people choose not to use them. To be honest, I had a slightly colicky baby and she was crying a lot, and it was a relief to shove something in her mouth and shut her up. Just the relief of when she stopped crying was wonderful. My husband was very resistant to her getting a dummy, and I put my foot down and was like, I need her to stop crying. So with that's very much a personal preference, but that is something I did actually get given to me. Teething toys, soothing blankets, that's like those the comforter blankets. You've got a bit of a blanket with a bit of a teddy on the end. That's something you get, that's a really common gift. Maternity pads, that's for yourself. You want really thick pads after giving birth because you make a mess for a while. It's glamorous but true. Also, big comfy knickers, I highly recommend. Disposable knickers, possibly even. I'm going to do a video on what to pack for your hospital bag. That'll be a separate video. A playmat, again, that could be a good gift from somebody. Baby books. So, if you don't have a lot of money, you don't have to buy baby books. You can get them from your library for free. Also, in Scotland, you get baby books through the BookBug organisation. In certain places in the world, you can get free children's books through Dolly Parton. She has some kind of book donation scheme thing for children. It's not available to me here, but check it out and see if it's available to where you're at. A changing bag is useful. Some kind of bag to cart all the stuff that babies need when you go out and about. You don't need a special changing bag. Just a backpack that you chuck everything in will suffice. But you'll need something to carry it all. Oh, sorry, the yellow and white blanket was my grandmother made a yellow and white blanket for us kids when we were little, and my sister had it, and that was a reminder to myself to get it back. I got a baby bouncer for free from a friend. So we get into baby bouncers and baby swings and baby seats and baby all sorts of things. So one point of note, baby walkers and those jumperoo things you fix in door frames and things, they do not recommend those because it can actually inhibit your child's natural development. But baby bouncers, once you lay them down and they kind of just bounce a bit, and the baby swings and seats and all that kind of stuff you can get second hand. I got a baby bouncer free from my best friend because she wasn't needing it anymore. That was a godsend for setting the baby down somewhere safe and secure while you're getting on with stuff, because when they're awake, you don't want to lay them flat on a bed, but they're not able to sit upright yet, so you can't plonk them on the sofa. So you need somewhere to set them down though sometimes when you're not, when you can't carry them all the time. And I found the baby bouncer such a useful thing. Now that she's 4 months old, she's starting to get a bit too big for it because she wants to sit up more. So I'm going to be picking up a chair, a special baby chair thing for her that can help support her upright so she can sit up. So it's useful to have somewhere to sit the baby, but you can just lay them on the floor if need be, on a blanket. You don't have to have anything fancy. And then toys and books. So also things like tummy time stuff. You can get different mats and things that you can do tummy time with. You can get those things you put water in and what have you, and rollers and all sorts of things. But the most important thing to your baby when they're new is you talking to them, you singing to them, you cuddling with them, interacting with them. That is the most important thing to them when they're little, and they're not awake for huge portions of time. They sleep a lot. But toys and things is often, we haven't really bought our daughter very much in the way of toys. People have come with toys second hand. People have given us toys as presents. That's something that we haven't actually really needed to go out and buy a lot of. As they get bigger, even things like give them a wooden spoon in a pot and let them bang and make noise. Like, you don't have to buy really expensive things for your child. Obviously be sensible, make sure there's no small parts your baby can choke on or swallow, poke up their nose, what have you. Make sure that if you're getting things second hand, I bleach everything that comes in second hand, just in case. So be sensible, but you do not need to spend a lot of money buying toys for your child. So we've got one basket of stuff. It's probably more than she needs. We only use a few items out of it on a regular basis. She has certain favourite toys. Crinkly toys are quite good. Things that are small enough for them to grab, but big enough they can't choke on. That kind of thing. This video has ended up going on way longer than I intended it to. So I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'm hoping you get the general gist. Think about by all means use lists online, but think about your own personal circumstances. Certain things you want to buy new, if possible, like car seats and mattresses. A lot of everything else you can buy second hand. I haven't mentioned clothes. Your baby will obviously need something to wear. That is covered in a previous video I did previously. But yeah, basically you need something for dealing with baby's bum. You need some method of carrying the baby around. You need somewhere for baby to sleep safely. You need to feed your baby in some manner, and some kind of things like nail clippers and that kind of thing are useful, and having some method of keeping your baby clean. And then, as I said, toys, your baby doesn't need a lot. And books you can get from the library, singing to your child, doing games. There are so many things you can do with your child that you do not need to spend a lot of time and money on. Time is the most valuable thing you can give your child, but you do not need to spend a lot of money on your child buying them toys. Ever in their life. I think in the West we spend far too much money on our children buying them toys, and you see these toy declutter videos on YouTube all the time. These children that have got so many toys they just don't play with them. So we're going to try and take a minimalist approach with our child's toys, and I'm going to focus more on spending time with her and interacting with her and that sort of thing. So, right, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to yawn as well, apparently. And I'm going to toddle off and actually see how my baby's doing, because she's been fast asleep for the past hour. I'm just going to go make sure that she's doing okay. So you guys, take care, and I hope this was useful. I hope it either bored you to sleep or was actually useful in terms of information. And I will be back with more videos sometime soon. Take care.